Good morning and welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I forgot to post the link. Holy mackerel. We're going to give it a minute while I finish my breakfast. I am so sorry about that. Coffee time. Welcome to coffee time. Mom, great to see you. We are on. I was super late. I forgot to post it in the Facebook group. Shame on me. Jane, great to see you. Happy Monday. Brandolyn, great to see you. I saw you got some classes this morning. That's great. And great to see you too. Robin, great to see you in Wisconsin. Crystal, I saw you had a show this weekend. That's a to be continued. Wait for everybody to TikTok up. You got to tell us more about the show in the thread. Because I poached some pictures from our Facebook group for today's show as part of the gallery night extension. Because I saw you had something great going on. So I want to hear a lot more about that. Linda, great to see you in Massachusetts. I can't believe I forgot to do that. Yes, I can. I can easily believe it. All right, let's see. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's wait and see what happens. I think more buddies are going to join in, but that was completely a my bad ball drop. I always post the link earlier in the morning. I've just been running around a lot again. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. So last night we started running the gallery night, and I realized quite a ways into it that we had too much content. So, and my mouth runs just continually, and that also needs to be staunched a little bit. But we had way too much content. So I wanted to start the episode today by looking at some of the pieces that were sent in that I didn't get to last night. And I didn't get them to them because of the chronology, not because they are not amazingly fantastic. And I added a few too, which hopefully will make for a good, fun show. Brendan says, yes, a case of, oh, tendinitis has kept you away from knitting and rug hooking. You're ready to get back in the groove. Well, that's good. These things happen, right? Things come and go. It's always there for you, but it's a good time to get back into it, isn't it? Pam, great to see you in California. Sorry for the late posting today. I have got to do better, honestly. It threw me a little bit to run a show in the evening on Sunday and then have another show Monday morning for me. It's all it takes, something like that. That's all it takes to really get me utterly confused. So let's go back into our gallery night. And I know we are expecting all of our regular crew when they realize that I am running the show. Let's just get into it because we know it's recorded and we can watch it later. I left off last night, and toward the end of the show, I made some choices about rugs to save until today. And Jane, one of yours is one of the rugs that I chose because I knew that when I say I knew, I hope that you were asleep in Wales and that it being in a different time zone that you were not live. So I thought, let's look at the Boris rug. Doreen, great to see you. Let's look at the Boris rug now that it's finished and in its forever home, right? So do you remember a couple of coffee times back, Jane was working on, and Jane, you are a new hooker, right? I mean, it's like impossible to know that by your work, but you are a fairly new hooker. You wanted to do a portrait of Boris the dog, your neighbor's dog who had passed away. And we were looking at the sort of evolution of that piece in the past couple of gallery nights because it was a big deal and it's an important piece. So let me read the text first and then I'm going to show you the images of Boris. So Jane, you wrote, this is Boris in his new/old home. Judith, my friend, burst into tears and said, that's Boris, when I showed her the finished piece. Phew! I was so pleased because it does look exactly like Boris. She loved the composition of Boris being up at the farm, hunting in amongst the bulrushes that we call cattails here. She couldn't stop touching. She couldn't stop touching it all. It is a super tactile piece with lots of techniques. Hubby said he wasn't sure about the back end, but Judith said that it was right as Boris was chunkier at the front than in the back. Boris. Apart from using the lovely textured wools you sent me, I used mostly acrylic yarn as I have a massive stash here from all of the many crochet projects. Isn't it great to keep all that stuff and use it? Use it this way. You feel so justified in having stored it all up, right? Stockpiled everything. The 3 colors of yarn. Let's look at it and we'll start looking at specific parts. Carol, great to see you. Kimmy, great to see you. I'm sorry I posted so late today. I completely dropped the ball. We are starting the episode looking at Jane in Wales, her Boris. Oops, uh-oh, spoiler alert. Wait a minute. Hang on. Spoiler alert. Okay. Sorry about that. Whew. I was adding some slides. That wasn't one of them, but that scared me. Okay. Let me see. Let me see where we get to Boris. And be prepared to be amazed. Oh, I feel we're getting closer. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Melanie, great to see you. No, you're late because of me. I'm the jerk who forgot to post, I'm sure. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm so happy to see you. This is a sort of side view of Boris. So let's look at some of the details here. Remember, Jane is using a bunch. I sent a bunch of dark wools over, like a big stash of all different kinds of textured wools, grays and darks, for his little body. And she's also using a ton of her acrylic yarn that she had left over from crochet project. Shannon, great to see you. I'm sorry about the late post. And so, Jane, you say I attempted some Waldeboro for the bulrush heads and sheep. Let's look at that in just a minute. I used some voile for the bee wings and for the prodied, is that a word? In them. Okay, I see what you mean, and we're going to look at all that close. You can see the bee wings here. Voile, if you're not familiar with it, is like, I think we say voile in the U.S. It's like lawn fabric. It's like a very lightweight sheer. It's even more lightweight and transparent than like cotton lawn or Liberty fabrics. But it's a super, super, super lovely, very, very gossamer fabric. If we don't call it voile, I just can't remember from country to country what we call them. You would recognize it, right? And it is in the bee's wings. It almost looks like breath, right? It almost looks like you just breathed some fiber onto the bee's wings. So so cute. Three of the colors were over. Okay, so three colors of the yarn for the wood effect, right? Because the border is like a trompe l'oeil wood effect. Were over dyed. And Jane, you have become the master of over dyeing acrylic. And we've been talking about that a little bit, and we're going to talk more about that in January when we start our full month of dyeing, because we always talk about dyeing with aniline dyes, chemical dyes, also natural dyes. These are two huge subjects for us, but we hardly ever talk about dyeing acrylics. And that's a big one too. You should know how to do it. You should know it's possible. And mostly you should know what to expect from the results, because it's totally different. Jane is the master. So I'm going to be tapping your brain a lot on that subject as we approach January, but hopefully not too fast. For those of you who are new to rug hooking, the term Waldeboro means raised, like very highly raised and sculpted. Oh, Karen, good to see you. You came back from Thanksgiving with the creeping crud, but oh, I think everyone's feeling sick right now. I had it last night. I'm still sick today. I think we're all, yeah, it's all slamming down on us at the same time. We can't be getting it through this medium, right? Giving it to each other over the camera or something. So I was using roving for Boris's mustache, beard, eyebrows, legs, over the top of the hooked wool strips. Interesting. Interesting. I see what you're saying. You're layering it all up. Let's look at some more slides to get some more intel here. This is a nice side view because you can see some of the raised bits, some of the Waldeboro bits. Waldeboro is literally hooking it. This is Boris. What a little pork chop he is. Look at those crazy Einstein eyebrows. I just love schnauzers. They are such little cutie pies. Oh, he is too cute. He looks like a little hot mess, doesn't he? That little sweetheart. So it really does look like Boris. Really looks like Boris. So you can see some of the high hooking that's happening here. And Jane's saying she's doing some hooking on top of the hooking. So that is its own technique. That is like bordering on like Erica Wilson style embroidery techniques, just going on top of what's already there. That is so smart. That is so smart. And that is something we hardly ever do. And you know what it takes to be able to hook that way, in that very spontaneous way where you think, I like it, but it's not high enough. I'm going to leave what I have and hook on top. It just takes confidence. It just takes confidence. So you just work yourself up. However you do that, whether you kiss your biceps or pound your chest, however you do it, you work yourself up into a lather, and then you approach that piece and you just do what needs to be done on it. You just need confidence to do this seat of the pants type hooking work here. Let me see, hook them in. Some was sewn. Okay, so some of it is sewn to the surface. I think some of the roving was, right? Overall, I was quite pleased with how it turned out for my first ever pictorial hooked rug. I'm sure, because you did a beautiful geometric. I remember that from gallery night. It was the hallway runner, right? I'm sure I could have done things better. I don't know about that, but I learned a lot. I probably hooked him 10 times over by the time I tried the different yarns and colors and combos in all the different areas. I have to say, oh, a massive thank you. Well, you know that I love you and you are always welcome. Welcome to absolutely anything. Anything that I have is yours. This came out, I mean, this is such a masterpiece. I take no credit for this at all. Boris turned out far, far better than I imagined because of all the wonderful suggestions. We talked about Boris during the cocktail nights and really brainstormed. And I loved those episodes because we came up with so many great ideas, and Jane was asleep in her bed. And then when she woke up in the morning, she listened to the episode and went, "Oh my God, that's a good idea." I remember things about the little beehive and stuff like that and the placement of the bees. A lot of people chimed in with some great ideas, and I'm so happy to think that it really paid off, and it really did pay off. I am now well and truly a confirmed hooker, and I cannot wait to see what hooking adventures I get up to further. And then you put a little asterisk and you said, I forgot to put in, I used RIT, synthetic dyes, to dye the yarn. That's an important part, right? Because that speaks to the idea of over dyeing acrylics. So we make a lot of fun in this country, in the US, talking about RIT synthetic yarns. Dyes. There is absolutely nothing wrong with RIT. Through the years, people have used it constantly. Very popular in the middle 20th century, very popular with Alice Butler and um, so many artists that we have looked at have been solely RIT users. And RIT does do regular dyes for organic materials, for wools and cottons and silks and all that, but they also do a synthetic dye. And Jane is using it, and Jane is saying, it is working great. So coming straight from the horse's mouth, that does not make you the horse, right? But coming from the master of synthetic dyeing, that is what you need to know. If you've got a lot of Red Heart, Lion, whatever synthetics you have, or blends, and you're thinking, yeah, I got too much camel. What was I thinking? I was going to knit a giant Afghan, and the love for the Afghan just went out of me. I have all this yarn. Over dye it. Over dye it with the synthetic dyes. It is going to work really well. So interesting. I thought that was really interesting. Let's look at a few more. And you can see the wings here, the voile, right, attached. So Jane is saying she's doing both sewing onto techniques and also hooking. Melanie's saying, I remember my mom and grandmother using RIT to refresh colors. Yeah, I mean, they're good dyes. Dye is dye. There's nothing wrong with it other than it's sold at like the common store and the pharmacy. And for that reason, somehow we are programmed now to think that unless it comes from some super expensive store, it's not the right quality or it doesn't belong heirloom style in our work. Well, it does. It works well. It's still dye. They've been at it for 100 years. They know what they're doing and they produce a really strong product that works. And Jane is saying thank you for everybody's comments. These are what Jane calls bulrushes. I've always, I think, called these cattails. But this is the Waldoboro where you pull up really high with your hooking, really three-dimensional effect. My mom, those are the bee's knees. They are the bees and the bee's knees at the same time. They are so beautiful. And these are so beautiful. You get this really, you really popping the composition with this raised effect. Isn't it amazing? And again, so similar to embroidery. If you've ever done crewel embroidery or you got into embroidery with Erica Wilson, like in the 70s, 80s, all of those styles of embroidery where it's showing you, and trapunto. We talked about trapunto not that long ago. These raised techniques really add so much to the composition, so much interest. And this is Boris's final home. So this is in the friend's bedroom. This is in the neighbor's bedroom. And while Boris sadly is not there anymore, this piece is there, and it is just beautiful. It is wonderful to see it in his final resting place. And I have to say, I love like some of the bedding here. It looks like a little vignette laid out. There are some similar colors in the coverlet or the duvet and then the blankets that really pull in to Boris. Karen says, Jane, this piece is absolutely gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. It is such a great piece. I am so excited. I'm so excited about Boris and all of the next adventures, of course. Oh, Boris. All right. And we looked at this last night. That was Nancy Klunder's amazing Van Gogh chair. We talked a little bit about that. Let me come up here. Ryan, I think this is, yep, that was the elephant. There's more to say on Ryan in just a second. Linda, did I miss? Oh my gosh, Linda, I missed your fish. I am so sorry. I don't know how I did that. Because we looked at some others, I think, but we did not look at the fish. Let me just check and see if I have text for the fish. Text for the fish. I don't think I have text for the fish, but this is Linda Hutnick's fish composition. Absolutely beautiful. This is such a stellar piece. I don't know why I don't have it grouped with the others. No, the Boris isn't a pillow, Melanie. It was the one on the wall. It's this one. Oh, I won't go back there because it's way far back. But it was the one that was up on that pink wall. It could have been a pillow, but it's such a good gallery piece. Um, I absolutely love this composition, and I'm completely intrigued by this frame. Isn't it funny? Why aren't we framing all of our work? It's so much easier than finishing the edges, and it looks so grand, doesn't it? I mean, it really does. I think this is extraordinary. I am completely mystified and curious about this frame because it looks, maybe it's like wood or whatever. I'm wondering if it's overpainted black. It reminds me of ceiling tiles, like the tin ceiling tiles. It's got such a great ornate feel. It almost reminds me of like a fireplace surround, Victorian style. It's just so cool. It's such a cool complement to this piece, and I love this piece. I love things in multiples. I love a simple composition like this where you've got the same sort of shape of fish mirroring itself, right? It's such a cool kind of playing card composition with the fish reversed. Oh, interesting. I'm going to have to go back to that. I didn't see that. I saw a pig in there, Melanie, but there might also be a dog. I love the coral too, and I'm not sure. I guess it must be coral, but you never see compositions of fish like this with these crazy colors. And I think this is. I think this might be punched. I'm not sure if Linda's on. I think this might be punched. It feels with all of that movement in the background, that antique black background. It's so unexpected because we always see fish in blue water or green water, right? Or light water. Bob, great to see you. But we never see fish like up against this kind of dark background. It's kind of exciting. And it really put me in the mood of like deep, deep, deep sea. When you see pictures of like creatures like that goblin shark and these characters who live really deep underwater in like the black water, like where there's no sun coming through, and how they all look crazy. Like they have crazy monster faces, like Lovecraftian type faces. This is just such a great piece. It's so evocative. The colors are so unexpected. It's so graphic, so pretty, and it's such a strong, it has such a strong hooking style, whether it's hooked or punched. All of that concentric working of the background around the two fish and the coral is just like, it's so good. And there could not be a better frame on earth than this one. And it just goes to show, just remember what you're doing with your frames and stuff, because whether you're finishing it or you're shopping for a frame really can make it or break it. And lately, on this show, we've been seeing such amazing examples of frames popping the piece, right? Not just like keeping up with, right? Panting and running alongside, but actually popping the piece. And this is probably the best example of that I've seen. Really, really good choice. It does, Pam. It's just it's an extraordinary frame. I've never seen one like this. And if I do, I'm going to grab it because I'm going to be hoping to use it myself. So I think this must be another one of Linda's. Gosh, I feel so bad. I feel like I broke up some of the stuff from last night and some of the continuity. Okay, oh, that last one. I am so sorry. There is text. This is Russian Punch. So Russian Punch is miniature punch. It's a lot smaller than you think. This piece is 8 by 10. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, Linda, thank you so much. I have text. The original pattern was a rug hooking pattern designed by George Conley, and that's Kahnle, featured in an issue of Celebration. You drew it in miniature at 8 by 10, and you used a combo of Valdani, which is that beautiful, very thin Russian punch thread, and DMC. I'd be so curious. Thank you, Linda. Linda, when you punched it, were you using the, what's it called? Because I use the pretty punch. What's the ultra punch? Were you using the ultra punch? And did you have to separate strands of the DMC because it's so much thicker than the Valdani? I'm just wondering. Or did you just change to a different sort of nib on the needle so that you could use something that was a bit thicker? I'm just wondering because I've only done a little bit of Russian punch, and I hope to do more in 2023. But I always ask these questions of people who do a lot more Russian punch than I do. Interesting. No, you did 3. Fantastic. Oh, you sent 3. I definitely have the 3. I definitely have the 3. So this is Russian punch. And there is always a thing with the Russian punch too, because they're small pieces. You see people putting them up on cutting boards and things like that, and that works great. Framed is fantastic. What a beautiful piece. And then let's look at the next piece. The Two Old Crows. Now this is rug. Okay, the second pattern is a pattern from the Two Old Crows, right? The company Rug Hooking. I'm not sure there is enough contrast in the wing to the body, and I may pull it out. Oh, oh no, no. I mean, it's an opinion. It's an opinion. It's just my opinion, but no, I think it's right the way that it is. Personally, I do. All suggestions are appreciated. The size on this is 29 by 22. My personal opinion is that I like it the way that it is. You know, this is a very graphic piece, and I think part of the charm of this piece and the reason this piece is so striking is because the silhouette is very strong. I think if you get into lightening up the bodies, that you're going to lose the strong impact of the silhouette. And then it's like, as a silhouette, right, as a piece with text and a silhouette, it stands alone. It's super strong. I think if you start making part of it more realistic, I think it'll take away from the graphic impact of the piece. That's just my opinion. So I would not. I like exactly what you've done. There's a little movement. There's a little color change. Candace, good to see you. Um, yeah, everybody's saying leave it. Yeah, it's too graphic of a piece, right? It's the charm of it is in the simplicity and in a really striking dark against the background. And yeah, if you lighten up the dark, it's going to be less striking. So I like it. Everybody thinks it's perfect the way it is. Woohoo! On to the next, right? So this is a Two Old Crows pattern. It's absolutely stellar. I love it. It's unanimous. Everybody thinks this is perfect. I also love your nutcracker. The nutcracker is from an old quilting book. The original design for wool applique seemed like it might work as a hooked piece. It does work as a hooked piece. 12 by 25. I tried adding embellishments, which is a bit out of my comfort zone, but fun. It's, you know, it's out of my comfort zone too, but I think this is the right time of year, and I think the holidays is definitely the right subject to kind of jump in on the sewing on and hooking in embellishments thing. This is so charming. This is so seasonal. You have another dark background going. I love the drama of your pieces. I really do. Linda, you have such a style. It's getting to be that like when I look at your pieces, I can tell that they're your pieces because I'm seeing enough of them and I'm recognizing some things that you do the same, kind of the tropes that are all yours. I love this dark background and and you can see there are like striations in there. It is kind of a concentric background working around the nutcracker figure. The colors have massive impact, and it's a slightly darker palette. It's a very theatrical palette. Unexpected, right? I'm always thinking of nutcrackers as like bright red jackets and candy colors and, you know, really, really bold, shiny, glossy paint colors. This is unexpected. I absolutely love it. It's very theatrical. It's like a nighttime nutcracker for me. And I love his beard. He's dark, right? His hair is dark. Everything's dark on him. He's a great figure. You did a great job. I absolutely love it. And it is so nice to go outside of your comfort zone. My mom said, love the nutcracker, but of course I would since I have a whole army of them marching across the fireplace. Jane, it's beautiful, isn't it? We do. I have also started, I have to admit, I've started a nutcracker collection as well. That's my mom's comment there. And we have, since my dad was alive, we have a stupid amount of nutcrackers marching across the mantle, all different sizes. The original purpose of the nutcrackers, I think, was to torment our dog Candace, the Scott Terrier, by chasing her around the house with the extra large one, clamping his jaws, and it was like, it was a lot of fun. It maybe was inhumane, but she loved it. So I've been stockpiling my own little nutcrackers when I see them, just the old ones. I just like the old ones. On my mantle too, because it seems to be a family tradition, and they are just so beautiful. Everything in multiples, right? They are so beautiful. Linda, these were beautiful pieces. Thank you so much for sending. I love all of them so much. And again, if you're just catching up with us now, we are concluding our gallery night from last night because I had so many images and I did not want to rush. I did not want to rush them. This is a piece by Mandy Cornish, and I always love it when Mandy does everything, right? And Mandy has been really into the Alice Butler designs. This is one of them. I think this was the one called Night Birds. So this is in the Ribbon Candy Hooking store under Alice Butler. I have it sort of sideways because she's working on it in progress here. But you see the owls, very almost like a 1950s jazz album cover, right? With the what kind of birds are those on the bottom, do you think, with all of that textured wool? Owls on top, looking like they've got sunglasses on, looking utterly jazzy, right? What kind of birds are those? Are those like little partridges or something like that? Let me show you another one of it. You know what? Let me see if I can do this live. I'm going to try. Sometimes this works. Hang on. Let me do. Let me know if that worked for you, because for me, I moved it top to bottom. I moved it to the right orientation. I'm wondering if that worked live. But I just love this piece. You can see she's scrolling right across on like a Chetty Camp frame. Mandy's in Canada working these patterns, and it's just a cool pattern. Do you see in the distance there's another dark branch, kind of partridge? Of course it is. Thank you, Bob. Very good. Absolutely. They're so stylized. Do you see those bats hanging down in silhouette in the back? Isn't that cool? It's just such a cool composition. It's so unexpected. It's really particular, isn't it? It's not for everybody, but I absolutely love this piece. Mandy is so, so good. She said, if you need more info, nope, totally got it. I can't remember the exact size. It's larger. It's the larger one of the two. She said maybe 28 by 48. It is something like that. It is. I offer the Alice Butlers in two sizes, like a smaller size for like the wall, and then a quite bigger size. Sharon, it's okay. I screwed up with the posting, and I didn't give you that nudge in the morning to remind. It's me, but I'm very happy that you're there. And then a larger size, because I know a lot of people will be putting these on the floor. Alice did put these on the floor herself, right? Alice and her son Vic Butler put these down on the floor. So I offer these in two sizes, and this really is a largey large. It's all done in yarn, and it's going to go on the floor. So this is a to be continued, but man, there is some amazing progress happening here. Can you punch on a Chetty Camp frame? Melanie, I have a Chetty Camp frame, and I have never used it. I've just set it up. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. My Chetty Camp has some vicious teeth on it, and I'm never a fan of that. Of course, it scrolls like a needlepoint frame. I'm going to give a shout out to the group. I know, Crystal, you work on a Chetty Camp frame. Melanie, I do it all the time. Of course you do, because you only punch and you work on a Chetty Camp frame. Do you have any issues with stuff getting pulled out, Crystal, or it's all good the way that it is? And how is yours secured? Crystal, is yours like crazy teeth? Um, or do you like pin it or secure it in a different way? I'm just wondering. There's a lot. See, it's so good to pull information. I'm not the end all do all, but you guys are. Oh man. So yeah, Chetty Camp frame. Maybe I'll pull that out in 2023 and start playing with it. It's such a big thing, and I hardly ever do large pieces. Shannon, Shannon, I'm pretty sure I just said hi, right? No, I think Shannon was on up further in the thread. This is from Shannon Carter. This is an amazing piece. This is the Van Gogh chair, right? We did a little bit with the Van Gogh chair last night. This is going to be hopefully going up, definitely going up in January in Hartford when I give that talk. This is turning into a big deal, this exhibit, and drumming up a lot of excitement in the capital of Connecticut. So this is one of the Van Gogh chairs that's going up into the exhibit. This this is a funny message that you wrote. Van Gogh chair among cherry blossoms, right? And I love that. What a Washington D.C. feel, right? Going to the Smithsonian, visiting the museums, and all those cherry blossoms. And here's Van Gogh's chair, just right there. So beautiful, so springtime, such a moment in time. And she wrote, "Never imagined I'd be hooking a chair," right? Isn't it strange? The things that you get up to once you get sucked in. It's such a beautiful composition. I just absolutely love this piece. Bob says it's the lower part you would have to fold it up, posture not kill your back. Okay, just to be comfy. These are great tips. I thought a Chetty Camp used a sew-on attachment. See, mine doesn't. Mine is not a real Chetty Camp. It was something that somebody made in New Hampshire, and I drove up to pick it up, and it has like cogs on the edge of it, and it has teeth. So it's a floor frame like this, right? And it's like a huge size, but it's not an actual Chetty Camp. And I have to scroll forward on it, and it drags the piece with it as I go, kind of like an old. Do you remember those old? My grandmother had one, not the laundry, the dryer thing that ran through those two kind of huge rolling pins, right? That rolled out, and the thing would go through it. That's kind of how mine works. What an amazing composition. It is an amazing composition. I just love these chairs are all so different. I must have about 15 or 20 at this point, and I'm getting really excited for the show and for the talk. I just hope I can do these justice. Crystal says my frames are a little more unusual, not the newer gear style secured with cup hooks. I'll post a pic. Okay, yeah, definitely post a picture, and then I can show it on Coffee Time too for people who are not on Facebook. Because Crystal's saying she's going to post a picture in our Facebook group, which is Rug Cooking and ampersand Punch Needle Club. So I'll share that here for those of you who are not Facebook people. And sewing onto the canvas strips. Okay, yep, that was the other thing I had in mind that was definitely a possibility. I would like to see. Yeah, see one you could spin around. Yep. We'll do that. We'll do that for one of our coffee times. I'll take a picture of mine too and show how that one works. And we'll show all the different. Um, Maybe I'll stop saying Chetty Camp and I'll just start saying floor frames so we can see all the different versions that. Oh, Colleen, great to see you. That we all have. And it's interesting to think about too, because I know a lot of people are using large needlepoint floor frames. So if you're using one of those, please send me a picture of those. Those can easily be adapted. PVC pipe frames, right? All of these large floor frames that are like long and skinny. There are a lot of people out there who are now adapting the really big needlepoint ones and the quilting ones, right? The quilting frames to doing rug hooking. So that's something we should take a look at, because for people who want a really large frame and who don't want to spend $1,000, it's good to know what other people are doing, because I think a lot of us are just, if we're making rugs, we're just handy people in general. And if you are more of a problem solver and you're like, that's all I got to do is add a canvas strip or add a cog, I got that. We should be talking about this and thinking about that, because you might be able to adapt something very inexpensive that you could find on Facebook and have that floor frame, right? If that's something that you're looking forward to. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just start saying floor frames, because Chetty Camp is really so. I mean, that's right for Crystal and for your family, that whole Chetty Camp history. But in the U.S., we see very few real Chetty Camp frames because of the shipping, right? And because they're not from here. Bob says, I use a frame that I turn around by hand, so I am fine. It's pretty large and it works. Isn't it great when something just works? You just figure it out, right? It's just, yeah, that confidence. All right, let's see. I also had, oh, okay. So Becky had the thumbnail for this night too. I'm getting nervous because I posted a bunch more and I'm wondering why they are not there. I'm gonna have to figure that out in a second. Sorry, just having a bit of a technical uh-oh again. So Becky did this one, and this is based on one of Kirsten Gay's designs. So hold on, let me see if I can find the text for this. There's a bunch of Kirsten Gay designs, because obviously she's a huge player in the ribbon candy hooking page, brand, everything, and a designer. And I have her work on the Ribbon Candy Hooking website. She does a lot of tremendous design. This is one of a series that she did too. I know she was hooking some smaller pieces too, but this is one that Becky hooked of Kirsten's, and said, like, I need something. Becky said, I need something festive, like for the Christmas table, like the holiday table. And she hooked this up real fast. And I think it came out so beautifully. So many color changes, so much happening here. Great geometric. Geometrics are great for the holidays because you can put them out early and you can leave them indefinitely. It doesn't scream Christmas or Hanukkah, or it doesn't scream anything. It's just very, very, sorry, I'm just looking out the window because I'm expecting a giant frame to arrive today. It's just a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece. Hold on one second while I figure out whether I have, hold on, I'm a little bit distracted. I have the second half of the show is, I'm live. The second half of the show will be about Louis Wayne. Let me see if I can just locate some of the image. Yes, I can. Here they are. Whoo, that scared me. Crystal, you had a show this weekend, right? You said, I had a little show this weekend. I showed some of my, you know what? It didn't look like a little show. It looked like an amazing show. It looked amazing, and it was a video, so I couldn't show all of it here. Dave, great to see you. I'm gonna gush for a minute, Crystal, and I hope I don't embarrass you. I just love your work so much. You punch, right? You dye. You're doing some selling. You're starting the fair circuit. You should be selling out of everything, because this is the most tremendous graphic, contemporary rug making. This is at its best, right? So Crystal is always working, posting these images of rugs that are, in their simplicity, absolute perfection. Absolute perfection. So let's look at some of the ones that you showed in this post. The symmetry, right? The animals, the simple florals. For me, the work is super graphic Art Deco, right? It's amazing. It's completely amazing. I'm going to look at those frame comments in a minute. I just want to show you some of the images that Crystal posted. This is one I don't think I had seen yet. In its simplicity, absolute perfection, the flying bluebird, amazing gridded background, these softened tulips. This is an incredible composition. I know, Linda, right? Crystal, I just have to toot your horn more because yeah, this is incredible stuff. I saw this and I got a stomach cramp because I formerly thought, coming out of Canada, could there ever be a pattern that was better than the Garrett Blue Nose Three Bears? Well, for me now there is. It's the bears with the jump rope. This is like so amazing. So amazing. Absolutely love it. It is complete perfection. And moving on to two horses with the flower above them, the arc, the sort of flying geese in the border. I might have to end early today. Two giant tufting frames are arriving at this moment. Let's go for another minute, but I can see they're coming up the stairs. It's a bit Edgar Allan Poe. Absolutely beautiful composition. And again, this is Crystal's work. Crystal, can you put a link to your website or Instagram like into the comments? Because I think we all want to see it, and people might want to see the video that you took of the fair this weekend. Absolutely beautiful. Ryan, you posted this the other day, and oh, I'm catching up on the comments too. Let me do that last. You posted this the other day, and we touched on this last night at cocktail time. What color should I put in the background? And somebody said, oh, maybe green, and you plugged that in, and it looked really good. And I'm sorry, do you live in a place where there is like a holodeck or something where you have some time that other people don't get? Because you did this since then, and that seems completely impossible. So amazing. I love the green and I love the layers of green. I love that you went and stacked 3 different families of green. Completely amazing. I love it. It's coming out great. And I can see, last night I mentioned that image of yours that looked like a Duran Duran cover. I can see that peeking out in the background. We saw that on a previous coffee time cocktail night. I think I'm going to have to today, because frames are coming upstairs, leave you in a second. I have to find a place for 2 huge tufting frames. So let me just catch up on the comments. I'm not sure if, so Brandolyn, you said, I'm not sure if mine has a name. It was handmade and inherited from a great aunt. Oh, the kind of frame. Nice. Yeah, we're going to get into tufting real fast around here. Krista says, haha, you guys are so kind. I'm excited too. You've been doing amazing work. Listen, I'm gonna get going, and we're gonna start the Louis Wain commentary tomorrow. But if you have any images of your frames, Chetty Camp floor frames, whatever, please send them to me so we can look at those together. I'm going to send you some pictures, and I'm going to post some stuff for Wednesday's coffee time of the frames that are coming through the door right now. So have a great afternoon, everybody. We will do the Louis Wain stuff on Wednesday and talk about those new designs that are now in the Ribbon Candy Hooking store. Crystal, send what you can. Everybody send your frame images, and I will catch up with you on Wednesday for coffee time at noon Eastern Standard Time. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe.